Hello and welcome to Audio Gyan. This week on Audio Gyan, we are going to discuss about a very ancient art form which has not really hit the glamour quotient after Birju Maharaj or Sitara Devi. I'm very pleased to have a very old friend and a Kathak dancer, Prajakta Sathe, on the show. Prajakta is a multidisciplinary artist with an extensive work in the field of dance. She's a vocalist, dancer, writer, painter, and a really good actor. She is Kathak Nritya Visharad with 29 years of experience in dance, masters in psychogenetics, and has won number of accolades for her various performances in theatre and dance. She's been teaching Kathak for more than a decade and has trained more than 100 students in Mumbai. Thanks, Prajakta, for being on the show. So, today's discussion we'll keep around dance as a profession and how dance steps add up to your life, right? So, the first question which I have you is what made you consider dance as a profession?
Hi Kedar, thanks for having me. See, basically, my mom, um, enrolled me for a classical dance class when I was 5, and she did this after I won a third prize participating in uh, in a record dance competition in her office without any training. And I performed on this number Ek Do Teen from Tezab, and I won the third prize. So she thought that it's time, that she would consider dance as a extracurricular activity for me, and then she enrolled me in this dance class. And from there the training started. And it went in parallel to academics. And at one point of time wherein I had to choose between I academically I did my masters in biotech and specialization in genetics. So when there was a point in life, as well as my masters in dance, so at a point wherein I had to choose whether to spend my life, my major part of my work life, slogging it out in a laboratory doing research for many hours, versus coming into this exciting world of performance, dance, arts, creativity, and the works, and riyas, and watching all these artists perform, and maybe also start performing on stage, teach. I definitely found dance very much more attractive, challenging, and exciting than the science field. So that's when I decided to, take dance as a profession.
Hmm. So, what are the job prospects when you decide to come into this profession or decide to become a dancer?
You never, graduate from being a student. You're a student for life when you are a dancer. So, first, obvious part is you become a performer, a dance performer. Then you can also choose to be a teacher, which many of the dancers do. Apart from that, you also could be a choreographer, have your own ballets, and create or maybe do choreography in the theater world, in the television world, in films, or maybe set up new ventures in as a option in your personal career.
Okay.
So choreography is a potential option. Another option is being a dance therapist. Apart from that, you can be a dance critic, which is a much less explored career option. Apart from that, you could also potentially do a lot of research in dance, and PhD in dance movement therapy or creative movement therapy, which is happening all over the world. So there is one branch which takes you to become a dance therapist, and there is another branch wherein you do research in movement analysis and therapy in the creative format as a content for the dance therapist to use.
Yeah, but is dance therapy a known option?
Dance therapy is looking up, though not really popular, to be very honest. But abroad, yes, dance therapists or dance therapy research is being backed or funded by many leading universities, and it's considered as a very upcoming and a serious career option.
Mm-hmm. Any tip or suggestion you would give to the new age parent who wish to put their children in dance classes or who wish that their children should learn traditional dance forms?
See, I would like to quote a very famous quote which says that happy parents create happy kids. So likewise, if parents are artistically aware, creatively aware, if they are inclined towards these art forms, they are naturally going to pass it on to their kids. So if you have parents who generally regularly attend concerts and dance festivals, music festivals, or maybe actively go and watch plays, theater, or maybe go and visit art exhibits, and so the kids grow up watching their parents do it, and at one point of time they'll start accompanying them in all of this, and that is essentially the correct way and the right way of introducing the kids to this world, because if parents are watching all these wonderful art forms, kids are definitely going to do it.
Yeah, true. But do you think these reality shows which are coming on TV like Nach Baliye or Boogie Woogie has it impacted the Indian traditional dance forms?
Okay. These dance reality shows definitely have to impact the traditional dance forms. What happened when I was a kid was that initially, extracurricular activity or artistic activity was majorly limited to singing or music. Slowly, when my generation grew up, dance, it was similar, it was parallel to how Boogie Woogie came up. And later there was Nach Baliye, which was a celebrity thing that happened. So slowly, parents graduated from being aware that music can be a potential extracurricular activity and maybe then a career option, to then the shift happened to, yes, dance can also be a potential career option. And I think it impacted in many ways, positive and negative. Parents were in awe of, parents and kids equally were in awe of the glamour and the the fancy works of the whole boogie woogie format, and the winners and the mega finals and the popularities and media coverage that they got. And uh, who wouldn't like that? I mean, any parent would like that for their kid. So they suddenly became aware that no, we need to train these kids. And then they started, then at one point of time there were these record dance schools that happened, that you enroll the kids for these record dances, and maybe 4 dances would be taught in a month. But then there was also a branch of audience that were aware that it doesn't work that way. We need to enroll our kids in traditional classical dance forms in order for them to get disciplined enough to follow the popular music and popular dance reality choreographies in a better format. So I guess I was lucky that my parents felt that it was essential to enroll me in a classical dance form like Kathak. And it goes unsaid that once you are as it applies for singing, once you are a trained classical singer, you can sing thumri, bhajan, kajri, chaiti, and maybe also pick up the nuances of popular film music or playback much easier than an untrained singer. Same goes for any dance form. If you are a classically trained dancer, you can pick up any other dance form much easier in a better way than a layman or a untrained student.
Yeah, but coming from a different school of thought, don't you think that these reality shows are very pseudo or superficial drivers to make children or parents put their children to learn traditional dance forms?
See, what I would like to say on this is that to each one his or her own. There is no right or wrong in in creative performing arts. So if tomorrow I feel that I need to enroll myself in or I need to put myself in a competition situation and come in a dance reality show and test myself there, there is essentially a lot of learning and unlearning that is going to be happening there. It is not that I'm going to be ready and I'm just going to go there and make it. There is always a pattern as to how it goes. I'm very sure that the behind scenes and the making of dance reality shows is a whole lot of hard work. So they and plus there is a pressure of having coming up with episodes on a daily basis, doing a lot much. I mean, huge amount of choreography, huge amount of practice in a very given short time, or maybe devote all 3 months of your lifetime for a reality show and shut down everything else. So that's so much of unlearning that has to happen. It's like getting a new life skill into your system. So, with all due respect to dance reality shows, and of course my classical dance form, whichever way you go, as far as you're dancing, I guess the thing is done. So this way or that way, it doesn't matter.
That's an interesting perspective. Uh, the next one, which I wanted to ask you, is what are the challenges you face to spread awareness or make parents realize the importance of uh, Kathak or other traditional dance forms?
One of the most important challenge that I I've been facing since I started teaching 12 years back, since 12 years back, is that classically being trained in the classical dance forms essentially requires at least 15 years of your lifetime worth investing in the classical format. And it is difficult for even as a performer or as a teacher to convince the parents that it does take that amount of time, because I a very common question that a new parent asks when they take admissions for their kids is that क्या आपके shows होते हैं, और ये एक show कब कर पाएगी, या आप competitions में भेजेंगे क्या? So even before giving them their kids a chance of whether they are liking it or not, they are ready to put them in a performing situation. So that's a lot. That's a huge amount of pressure on the kids also, to having to have such huge amount of expectations from these kids. And second, there is an expectation of every parent that since their child is learning, they have to be performers. अगर 100 बच्चियाँ कथक सीख रही है, तो आपको लगता है कि 100 के 100 टॉप के परफॉर्मर्स होंगे? ऐसे थोड़ी ना है. It's atrociously unrealistic to expect all these 100 students to turn into fabulous performers. Some of them will be performers, of course. Some will be teaching. Some will leave it halfway. Some will go ahead and maybe adopt a different art form, maybe singing, maybe an instrument, essentially inspired from their dancing. Others may be just wonderful audience. They might just turn into wonderful audience. So there are so many, there is going to be a lot of development from where it starts. So it's quite unrealistic to expect that once you enroll your child in a dance class, it's going to magically turn out and come out as a performer. Another challenge is, as much as I would like to say that kids are now very aware and very smart and evolved, unlike us maybe, they are sharper, brighter, but there is lack of practice, or lack of focus, or lack of time to practice, because they are doing so many things and there are so many pressures. And I just don't know how to tell them to practice, because they have their day packed, neck to neck, back, so I don't know how to inspire them maybe at times, whereas to चलो यहाँ squeeze कर लो practice, यहाँ squeeze कर लो, क्योंकि है ही नहीं time. So I'm just wondering if I can maybe find out ways to inspire them or to make them practice in different ways.
Yeah, that's true. But assume you find a student like that whose day is packed completely, and still you would like to insist their parents that this is the way you should do practice, or rather, like a person of your experience, what kind of practice you do?
Okay. Generally, when a student starts learning, a dance form. The classes are either twice or thrice a week, at least here in Mumbai. So, uh, apart from the 2 days wherein the kid goes for the dance class, the kid can, in the initial 2 years of his or her training, the kid can take out at least 15 to 20 and slowly to 30 minutes of practice daily. uh,
Okay.
it might seem really a small time, that 15 minutes, sirf 15 minutes bus ho gaya, but in the long run, when it's done continuously or consistently over a long period of time, it will show a difference versus, you suddenly wake up one day and say that I'm going to practice for 1 hour and then just don't practice for another month. So that's better. Practicing small bits and pieces every single day is going to work well in the initial period of say 2 to 3 years. After that, say in the 3 to 5 maybe or 7 year span, I would definitely suggest that a student must practice for an hour daily. Um, if not daily, maybe, because then the syllabus technically also is so much that there is something to choose from. So maybe do permutation combinations of whatever you've learned, tal anga, bhav anga, or maybe both one day, and keep the variety going so that boredom doesn't get stuck in. There are many exciting ways to do it also. Maybe there are so many different apps that you can use. Maybe one day do practice on tabla, one day put a sarangi app, one day put a harmonium app, so lehra playing, and then you practice. So there is a new factor of excitement, which can keep happening as you practice. But once the student crosses the 7 to 8 year threshold, and as once one looks forward to being a graduate or someone who's passed the basic preliminary stage, then there needs to be a definite practice of with the musicians for around hour and a half, at least 5 days a week. Now I say 5 days a week because I also include students going for performances, watching their guru talk or perform, attending workshops, maybe also getting together and practicing in a group, which will also inspire. um, right now, as a teacher and a performer, I have a tablaji visit my home. I have a home based studio once a week, and I practice with him once a week. And apart from that, there are I stand up, tie my ghungroos, and practice whenever I get inspired. And practice also essentially means that there is so much of chintan and manan also happening. So, as in, if I go and watch a concert of an artist, not essentially a Kathak artist or a Bharatnatyam artist, even for that matter, if I go and watch a tap dance, I'll feel inspired. I'll come back and maybe try to get the influences in my dance style. So this is also practice. Or maybe watch videos of someone I've heard about, and try to incorporate that, get influenced, or maybe seek my inspiration from there. Whenever I read something, whenever I do my singing practice, if I see someone's painting and then take my inspiration from that art form and try to bring it in my dance style, that also is practice for me. So practice now essentially does not limit myself to Kathak, but everything that comes along with it.
Correct. Uh, so, in the beginning, you mentioned about dance therapy. Can you slightly elaborate on that? What it is? How is it helpful?
Dance therapy essentially is a therapy wherein science and basically scientific principles and movement analysis is combined together with psychology, and the therapy is applied to a patient. So the dance therapy essentially treats physical trauma, emotional trauma, as well as it can treat addictions, it can treat uh, you know uh, psychochromatic disorders, and a whole range, a whole spectrum of debilities, right from uh, post accident care, wherein a patient has to be rejuvenated. There has been dance therapy which has been applied to patients who are bedridden, wherein the therapist has tied a thread to the patient. The therapist has tied a thread to the patient's finger, and the thread was, uh, moved in patterns so as to create a visual response in the patient stuck on the bed,
Okay.
that yes, movement is happening. So the brain waves showed that kind of difference, so it's that minute and that intense.
Yeah, that seems very intense. Going back to our earlier topic, I would like to know, it's a very difficult question, but still, in how do you find a guru and what is the importance of guru in the current time?
I think guru is what I could call the breath of a dancer, because or maybe the spine, call it a backbone, because um, without a guru you cannot step on on the floor, to dance, because essentially, I remember being influenced by my gurus in every aspects of my life, not just dance but other aspects also. There are phases wherein you are in awe, then you try to emulate your guru, then you try to be like them, and then you surrender to your guru. So that I've been through all these phases, and I think it is absolutely essential to have a guru in order to learn dance. So there is no option. Yes, after a certain point of time, when you start practicing and performing, you also learn from watching. There are essentially influences a lot. I mean, there are many influences throughout the world, but guru has to be solid. So you have to consider someone your guru, and then maybe get influences from all over, but guru has to be one.
Yeah, that's true, but I had a slightly different question. How do you find a guru? I'll give you a quick background. I was trying to learn flute few years back, and my guruji told me that don't even bother telling anybody that you're learning flute, Hindustani classical style, because at least for 5 years. So I was very impressed. So is that, like, are there any parameters to gauge or to understand that this guru is right for me as opposed to someone else?
See, this is essentially a slightly difficult question, because parents or kids, or rather anyone, has to put then a glass of judgment in order to distinguish that maybe this teacher is better or that teacher is better. One of the easier ways of doing it is that probably visiting a few classes, a few academies, for over a period of time, and asking the teacher to let you observe an ongoing class or a beginner's class, and whichever environment resonates with your personality. I think that's your personality, or maybe the personality of your kid. That's the best class for you at that point of time.
Hmm. So if I have to come to you to learn dance, what is that one thing which you will tell me or any of the children or people who want to pick up traditional dance form or also the boogie woogie style dance?
um, I really strongly feel that whenever you're dancing, um, no matter what kind of dance form you're doing, where you're doing, for whom you're doing, whether the audience is small, large, national, international, doesn't matter. If you are enjoying your dance performance, and you are overjoyed when you are dancing, you've got your point and you've nailed it. So I think if you are enjoying what you're doing, if you are enjoying your dance, then you are on the right track. So just go ahead is what
No,
I would
but
say.
enjoying can be slightly dangerous as well because uh, when it's very tough to balance enjoyment and being disciplined at the same time, right?
Yeah,
So,
I say this considering that the dancer or whoever is performing or maybe even practicing at home is following his or her, uh, you know, path, as in, whether it's contemporary dancing, hip hop, or, jiving or classical dance form, considering that he's getting trained well. Once you are into training, you only have to consider that am I enjoying myself? If I'm enjoying myself while I'm dancing, and mind you, it doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. But then, to keep at it, that, until I always used to say, I give my own example. When I was young, I gave my parents a tough time, that, I told them, ek do teen dancing was so was such fun, and you all are putting me into this format, and this is so boring. I have to do this 1 2 1 2 for so many months, and I don't like it. So they kept at it. They used to lure me that we'll press your feet, we'll apply balm, but please go. And when they kept doing it, very gently and coaxing me to try and attend these my class, my academy, after around 3 to 4 years, I actually started liking my own dance in the mirror. So at that point of time, when I started liking my own dance actions and movements in the mirror, and when I started maybe personally appreciating my dance, I started enjoying it, and then that turn took place. So that turn may take place in maybe 1 month for one kid or one student, or may take 5 years for another student. Just wait for that moment to happen.
and how do you know that moment? I mean, how long do you have to wait for it?
How long? As in, it generally, when the kids wait for around 5 years, 5 years is top of the tops. They do start enjoying dance because it has that kind of power. One point of making out that the student is at that turning point is that when the student, instead of the guru telling, smile while you're dancing, keep smiling, when the kid starts dancing on his or her own, that's the point when we come to know, now she's through, now she'll keep at it.
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, actually, that's it from my side. Thanks a lot, Prajakta, for being on the show. It was great talking to you and learning a lot about dance.
My pleasure, Kedar. It was wonderful.
Stay tuned for more Gyan on Audio Gyan next week. Till then, bye.